So this one's important because you guys will be able to spot talent when you see it, but more importantly, be able to spot talent and not just personality. Especially because this is a fairly, like advertising is, we found is a fairly niche skill set to find people in. And you can't just put an ad on Seek and you'll get 4 applications and none of them are qualified. It kind of has to be like an ongoing process of finding the right people. So we only want to hire here, which is like A+ players, because by definition, most people are average, but we've found the average is just so fucking low that it's like dismal. So we only aim up here. So we need to quantify and like qualify what is that? And so remember I messaged you like ages ago, I figured out like 3 words, like proactive overachieving athlete. So I thought about that one for a while. I'm like, what's the like common traits between everyone on the team? And we kind of boiled it down to that. So proactive because you want people that go out of their way to just identify what needs to be done next without needing to be told that. So for example, like Joseph this morning just messaged me out of the blue, said, hey, if you want to record today, you need to get 4 AA batteries. So you need people that think like that rather than like be told something. Because if they had to wait to be told to do something, it takes up a unit of attention and a unit of time from someone that is higher up the, I suppose, chain of command for lack of a better phrase. And then overachieving is our overachievers are here. The people that like fucking Brody learnt animation and made everyone email footers. Fucking no one asked it to do that, but it's useful. So you want people like that that go above and beyond and don't just do the fucking bare minimum of the key responsibilities and the CCAT and things like that. And then the athlete one's weird, I know, because I don't think any of us are athletes, but this is the best word I could come up with. But pretty much all of us have done some kind of, also some kind of combat sport as well. I don't only just like boxing for like fitness and stuff like that. But that's an important personality trait because doing physical fitness or some kind of exercise, it's a personality trait that admits you're not good at something and you could be better at it and you're doing something about it. So that's a personality trait. I don't give a fuck what your body fat percentage is or anything like that. It's a personality trait that you admit you're not good at something, you could be better at it, and you're proactively doing something about it. So that's an important thing there as well. I'm trying to think of like other areas because I don't want to just boil it down to sport. But if they show that trait, those like 3 things, then that's really good too. And obviously we want the right mix of value and skills. So I used to be naively the proponent of that statement that what was it, hire for culture, train for skills. Remember I was always like that like a year and a half ago. That's okay for entry level positions. But if I hire an accountant, that accountant fucking better be better than me. Because I don't know shit about accounting. So you always want to hire people, at least in the really, really, really important roles and key roles and not like internships and stuff like that, that are better than you at that particular role. So we want the right mix of values and skills. So values is obviously our company values, like taking ownership and stuff like that. And skills, obviously they've got the right skill sets. Now, obviously you don't want people that are just all values because then they're a good cultural fit, but then they're useless. And you don't want people that are just skills because then they're good at their job, but they won't mix with you guys, and then you get cultural problems in the company and stuff like that. So you want like a decent mix of the 2 and not them being completely separated. And so this carries over into our screening process as well. So we screen for skills first and then values second. So make sure they're qualified first and make sure they get along with everyone second. And there's a general rule of thumb that A players hire A players, B players hire C players. So for skills, if it's like an advertising role, Nick does it because he knows the skills to look for. If I did, I'd hire a fucking C player. I'd fuck it up. I don't even use URL parameters still. I mean, sometimes. So first we make sure they're qualified, that they can do the thing. And then we make sure they've got the right values. Now, this is interesting where, because we're opposite ends of the DISC spectrum. You're more, what is it, rational, and then the other one, which I can't think of, which is funny. And then I'm more intuitive emotional. So the values thing is more intuitive emotional. So I might show you guys later. I built this tool while I was in Margaret River, which was like how I screen for values. And it's literally just the Google form, and it says on all the values that we look for like the tutors and things like that. And we'll start using it for Where You as well, because it's working pretty well. It's just a scale of 1 to 5 of what my vibe is on that particular value. And I ask indirect questions about them as well. So remember that when we did our interview, how I started the interview. So what I say at the start is like, usually the way interviews work is like, everyone puts on this false facade where it's like, oh, like, what's your biggest weakness? And it's like, oh, I work too hard. It's like, you don't want to, like, give away the answer. So you ask indirect questions that reveal their values and their cultural fit. So for example, we talked about this 2 weeks ago, like tell me about a time you monumentally fucked something up at work. So if you can answer that, it means you reflect on mistakes and you take ownership and stuff like that. There's another really interesting one, which I think I've mentioned before, which is, this is to figure out their like personality type, because we can't hire entrepreneur personality types are terrible employees. So we had that joke, I interviewed that guy, and so there's that trick where you can ask people what their favorite movie is, and it's usually because they see themselves as the main character. So if it's an entrepreneurial main character, they're probably not a good fit for an employee role, because they'll get distracted and just work on their own empire while no one's looking at their screen and stuff like that. So that's a good one you can look for. Another question that I ask, at least that I've been asking for the tutors, is hypothetically, if you got to the end of the term and a parent wasn't happy with the results their students got, like, how would you kind of handle that? And if they start palming off and saying, oh, like the student wasn't motivated and stuff like that, then it shows the take ownership vibe is like a 2 out of 5 instead of a 5 out of 5 and things like that. So you want to ask indirect interview questions and not just fucking immediately tell them by the question what to say. But that's pretty much it. So I think the key kind of takeaway is just remember that statement, because those are the people that we look for. And then obviously they need to have our same values, and obviously they need to be qualified. And we only hire A players, so no average people, because average is so fucking bad. It's like so many of the applications just you don't realize. And I talked to her about it with I won't say who, because it's recording. But I was like, is this what it's like hiring people? Like getting this many resumes? He goes, man, you've just got to sift through it because you got to find the like 1 in 100, which is the top of that bell curve. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions about that, how that works? Cool. So if you spot anyone that looks like that, let us know, because we have to be proactive about finding new people.